What nonsensical invasive thoughts do you have that pop up from time to time that make you question your sanity? Am I pregnant? Haven't had sex in months. Am I sure I'm not pregnant? Had a light period. Am I sure I'm not pregnant? Have an IUD and using condoms. Am I sure I'm not pregnant? Had my period and it seemed normal, but women's bodies are mysterious, so am I sure I'm not pregnant? He used a condom, but I saw him try to put it on backwards first and that's a no-no, so am I sure I'm not pregnant? There's a whole show called I Didn't Know I Was Pregnant. Am I sure I'm not pregnant? For me it's the opposite. My traitorous brain goes, what if you can't get pregnant? What if you have something wrong with your fertility and you don't know until it's too late to fix? You should try to get pregnant. Just to make sure you can. You want a kid one day. Why not now? Before it's too late. I'm 27 FFS. I should have plenty of time left, but those intrusive thoughts are always lurking. What if I wait too long? Why not do it now? etc etc. Ugh. Sometimes I think like, what if I just cut everyone off and never tell anybody where I went? It happens more often if I'm in a bad mood. I get this one too. Like just disappear and go live somewhere else in the country where nobody knows me, let the police know I'm fine, but don't want to be found, and get on with life. Occasionally when I'm talking to someone I get intrusive thoughts that usually begin with how easy would it be to. Just like I'll be talking to my brother-in-law and I'll think, wouldn't it be easy to just sucker punch this man and knock out a tooth? And I'll be just no brain, we want these people to like us. I do this all the time. I meet someone new and am trying to get along with them, but as the words come out my mouth I can't help but think, imagine if I went batshit mental on them while we're having this amicable conversation. What the hell would he do / think / say? It bugs the hell out of me. It's only a matter of time before your employer realizes you are a complete fraud, have no business in the position you are in, and unceremoniously fires you. Thanks, brain. I feel bad for reading this while working. Oh man. This sounds similar to imposter syndrome, where you feel like you are just faking everything you do and have everyone fooled into believing you are who you portray. I don't know a whole lot about it, but was reading into it not long ago. An interesting condition, if you have time to look it up. I was hit by a car 7 years ago, ended up with terrible migraines that happen far too often. One thought I have often is, what if this is just a dream and I'm actually in a coma? I was in a crash almost 2 years ago, and I have the same thought every once in a while. Right. I've had 1500-ish migraines in 7 years and constantly think, this can't be my life. Wow, that's terrible. I'm sorry you're going through that. I have trouble with my weight, so just dig your nails into your stomach and rip all that fat out so you can finally be skinny is a pretty reoccurring one. You're not alone. I used to think about cutting my inner thighs off with a machete so they'd stop rubbing together. Then I just developed a run-of-the-mill eating disorder. Glad to see I'm not the only one with a similar thought. On the other hand, I'm too lazy to actually do anything about my weight. I have OCD. My whole day is intrusive thoughts. Sometimes it's repeated images of my dog being scraped into a boiling vat of oil. It might be images of my husband being unrecognizably mangled in a car accident. On a bad day, it attacks everything I do. Cooking. I've poisoned someone. Driving. I ran someone over. Walking the dog. I'm going to be kidnapped. Petting the dog. He's going to die because I love him too much, and the universe is going to notice and kill him. Sometimes I end up on a 4-hour-long agonizing rumination that I'm powerless to stop. The thoughts are completely random, disruptive, and uncontrollable. I really wish there was a better cultural understanding of what OCD is. This isn't cute, quirky, or neat. There were several times in my life where I sincerely wished I were dead, so I could at least get some peace. I'm doing much better after getting into treatment, but it's still a daily battle. Holy shit, is that what OCD is? I have had the same thing going on almost all of my life. I was diagnosed with Tourette's when I was a child, but I have often wondered whether that was a misdiag and it was really OCD. Or both. I don't know, my mind can be a very scary obsessive place. The Call of the Void, a name for all those what if I just crashed my car / jumped off this cliff thoughts. Supposedly our brains don't like the feeling of helplessness when faced with certain death or extreme discomfort, so they take a position of if I do it myself, I'm no longer helpless. Basically a way of taking the power back. It probably explains half of the responses in this thread. It also makes me feel a lot better about my own intrusive thoughts. That every time I have the slightest twinge of pain anywhere in my upper body I'm having a heart attack, or if I have a slight headache I'm having a brain aneurysm. Getting older is so much fun. Every little pain I can't explain is a blood clot in my mind, until it goes away after a week or two, and then my body's a ducking miracle that science just can't explain. I feel a slight soreness when I press on one side of my jaw, as if I banged it, and there's a small bruise. But there's no bruise or bump, and I can't remember hitting it on anything. No problems inside the mouth. Based on the evidence, I've decided it's jaw cancer. That I check the stove 1,000,000 times before leaving the house to make sure it's surely off. Previous stove actually had a gas leak, so didn't come out of nowhere, but after confirming multiple times that all the buttons are turned to back 0 feet on this innocent stove I should be comfortable leaving home. I regularly wake up in my apartment and think, what the hell am I doing here? How the hell did I ever be adult enough to be renting my own place to live? And you may find yourself in a beautiful house with a beautiful wife and you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here? Letting the days go by. I was discussing this with my kiddo the other day. Invasive thoughts that seem abnormal and dangerous, but once you think through it, you know you wouldn't actually act out the thoughts. An example would be, every time I'm at the top of a long set of stairs to descend my brain always has a brief thought of do a swan dive. Then I go, no brain. That's not healthy. And walk carefully down the stairs. What crazy thoughts make you question your sanity? I'm not going to lie, sometimes I get the random thought to crawl into the washer for some reason. Are you my cat? I have to check every time before I turn it on. Not because she actually goes in there, but I'm always scared she would. So I guess that's my intrusive thought. Lick it. No brain, I will not lick the soap. Nor the cat. No, I'm not gonna lick the wall. Shut up, brain. Do it. Lick the cat. They give you the most horrified look. I once worked as a nanny / maid for a family. They had a glass teapot that they used to drink tea out of every morning. One day while the baby was sleeping, I was doing dishes. I cleaned and put the teapot on the shelf. I don't know how, but somehow the teapot jumped off the shelf and crashed into a bunch of pieces on the counter. I knew how much they loved that pot, and I was terrified I would be fired when they came home from work that day. My first thought was to pick up one of the shards of glass and cut open my arm really badly. Then they would feel so badly that I got hurt that they wouldn't fire me. I, of course, told my brain that was insane and didn't do it. Incidentally, the people ended up being really understanding about the whole thing. Still kind of freaks me out that the first thing my brain jumped to was self-mutilation though. Off. But I have had shifts where I thought I wouldn't be mad if I passed out from the heat, because then I could go home, or if my coworker gave me a shove down that staircase. It's not serious of course, but is a thought that happens. Honestly, just I want to go home at various points in time. Especially when I'm tired and doing something unpleasant. Often when I'm already home. Fun fact, there is a Welsh word, hiraeth, that means a longing or sense of nostalgia, but especially for a home that no longer is or never was. Every time I have that I want to go home thought, I think of this. Thank you. It makes me feel much better to know it is common enough to have a word I very occasionally catch myself saying it aloud. It's like a very unhappy part of my brain is trying to catch my attention. Sigh. I wish mine were as innocent as jumping off the ledge as someone with OCD. I've had some horrific sexual/violent thoughts that are really scary and make me feel disgusted about myself. After taking meds for 5 years, the intrusive thoughts are pretty much gone. But when I was 15 and my OCD was really intense, I was suicidal because I felt like a ducking monster. I feel you. I don't have OCD, but I've had some really ducked up sexual thoughts that make me feel like a Nike person. The good thing about it making you feel like is that you know it's an intrusive thought and not you. I had them for a long time, not knowing they were normal. The anxiety made them worse, and it gave me panic attacks. Spent a year on the verge of depression until I read a sentence in a self-help book that talked about them as a minor and normal thing. Instantly helped. It was crazy, and I felt so good knowing that the troubles that plagued me for a year were no longer getting worse, but getting better. Every once in a while I have a existential crisis. It usually goes like this. While I'm doing something that I like, I start wondering why I got into that thing. I realize I did the thing because someone else told me about it, or it was someone's job to advertise to me. That spirals into, do I actually like the things I like because I do, or do I like them because I was given things at a really young age that could change my developing mind to make me like things? Then that turns into, who am I if all the things that I like aren't really what I like? Then I wonder, am I really a person or just a vessel used so companies can get richer by using my money? I'm young, I don't even want to know what my midlife crisis is going to be like. When I'm with any person at any point in time, what if I just leaned in and kissed them right now? I could be with my brothers and think this. It's not that I want to kiss them, it's just a nonsense intrusive thought. I have the same problem. Yesterday I was with my mom buying beef jerky from this old man, and I thought to myself, what if you made out with him right now? I'm happily married, so every time this happens I just think WTF is wrong with me. During tests, I usually use the calculator to calculate simple arithmetics like 2x4 or 3x2 multiple times just to make sure. I'm a mechanical engineering student, and I don't know if I have some sort of OCD or if this is just a side effect of studying engineering. I think this is just anxiety. When I took tests and when I started on my job I used to do the same. The pressure was big, and I really wanted to make no mistakes. Then as I got more relaxed and calm I didn't really do this anymore. I always want to go home. Even when I'm home. I like my home, but this comment keeps coming into my head. Kinda feels like I'm still looking for a home. I know it's a throwback from my childhood and directly correlates to my anxiety level. But I always find it weird how it manifests with I want to go home. It's so interesting that this has popped up a couple times in this thread already. This is something I've always had, and I never knew other people had the same thing. Like anytime I'm uncomfortable or think of an embarrassing memory, or sometimes for no perceived reason at all, I'll just think and sometimes audibly say I want to go home or I can't wait to go home. Even when I'm in my home. I could be talking to someone about normal things and a thought will pop in my head that says this guy is vulnerable, punch him in the head. I would never do it. But it pops in there from time to time. I remember that the first time it happened was when my history teacher in 9th grade was talking with me about Masada. The class was on US history, but I had an interest in Masada, and we were just talking about it. It is weird. I have the normal voice in my head that tells me to kill just like everyone else does, but this one says to punch someone in the head. Yeah, it's such a weird thing. Like, it's so bizarre and outlandish that the rest of your brain is simultaneously like, bro, WTF, but that errant thought still just floats across. A lot of times when I'm eating dinner with a steak knife, the intrusive thought comes in to stab myself in the eye with a knife. I don't have it often now, but I used to have it almost every time I saw a steak knife, and it caused me to cut my food very slowly. I remember once about 3 years ago I was holding a steak knife in my right hand and had to itch my left eye really quick. I used that same hand to quickly rub my eye. I realized shortly after the knife blade was about 1 centimeter from slicing my left ear. Had it been my right eye with the itch, I could have seriously injured myself. I think about it often.